Just having a little bit of a walk in park with dog. Played last night, got a few bumps on my head. Put my Yorkshire flat cap on to disguise them. And secondly, because I'm going to meet somebody I think is an outstanding Yorkshireman. Now, I've got to congratulate Johnny Vegas for some promos he's done for Super League, particularly in 2017. And he'll be happy that his Super League team, St Helens, got off to a winning start, much to my detriment at the start of the season. But there's an absolute superstar from Yorkshire. It's called the Yorkshire Prose, Ben Taylor. I'm going to go have a catch up with him, talk to him about how he got some of those outstanding points onto social media.
I love watching football and cricket and arrows. I love athletics, your Usain Bolts and Mo Farahs. But there's one sport stands out, at least it does for me, and that particular sport is Super Rugby League.
Ben, so excited to meet you, mate. It's a real honour.
Aye, you too.
Brilliant, mate. I was in pre-season training camp the last week of pre-season, and I got a text message from my wife. Have you seen this, Jimmy? Have you seen this? Have a look. And I popped it up, and I'll be honest with you, the first time I've seen you, and it was all about this Super League promo, an outstanding point. I thought, how talented is this kid, and how good is his Yorkshire accent? And 2/3 of the way through, you mentioned my name, and I was like starstruck and honoured, and I just thought it was fantastic. How did you get into it, making videos like
that? Well, cheers anyway. I'm glad you liked it for a start. But I first started doing, a bit of poetry when I would just start walking dog. Right. I'd done a poem about my Barbara, my sausage dog, and then I'd been putting a few together, and our lass had been sort of going on at me to share them for a while. And then my pal who moved over to Australia had a young one out there with an Aussie bird. And obviously he's a Yorkshireman, she's an Aussie. So I sent a poem over to him about, differences between Yorkshire and Australia. And I sort of still wanted his young one to grow up with his, knowing his Yorkshire roots. So I sent that across there, and that one sort of took off. That had over 1 million people viewing it, and that.
That's class.
So I thought I'll start sharing a few more. That's what I started doing.
Really putting Yorkshire on the map, and I always brag about the fact that I'm Mr. Yorkshire. Whenever I go on holiday, people often mistake me for being Arabic and Arab, but I'm more Yorkshire than Dickie Bird because I was born on the 1st of August, which you'll know is
Yorkshire Day.
Yorkshire Day, mate. So when I hear people like yourself, I just love the rich heritage that we've got in our vocabulary, and just listening to some of the words that you use, eating my breakfast this morning, just laughing my head off, mate. Is that something you have to practice, or remember some of those old Yorkshire words, or just a natural part of your vocabulary?
I think I've got quite a broad accent anyway. Broad, aye. I'm from, my father's from a mining family.
Yeah.
So that's probably where some of it comes from. Some older dialect words. I've got a couple of poems where I talk about old dialect words like besom for broom and cheg for chew, stuff like that.
Brilliant.
Words that you don't use no more. Stuff like that I've done a bit of research into, but most of what I do is, it's just how I talk,
Well, Alex was talking earlier about maybe you could put a dictionary together and a bit of a book of some of your poems that you've been going. I know the real art of it, or the real worth, is actually listening to you throw it out there, not Yorkshire dialect. But have you thought about writing any books or putting it down on paper?
Yeah, I've had a few folk, get on to me asking if I've got a book or where they can get my book, and I say I ain't got one.
Not yet.
But yeah. So maybe in future, because I've got hundreds written down that I'd like to share with folks. So if it's something people are interested in, then it's something I'd definitely look into.
And something else we've both got in common, we both back rows, both play rugby league. Obviously, you grew up in Wakefield. You're a Wakefield supporter. Do you get to many games?
I don't get to as many as I'd like to. Obviously, I'm serving in Royal Navy, so I'm away a lot. I got to a few last year, as I said, just not as many as I'd like to. I tend to get to, I go to Challenge Cup final every year, and to grand final, and get to a couple of internationals, so it's always nice to have a day trip out, isn't it, with lads?
Absolutely.
Yorkshire lads on tour.
Yorkshire lads, mate. Yorkshire lads on tour, you can't beat that. And talking about the heritage of rugby league, you're obviously in the armed forces, and the armed forces rugby league has just gone from strength to strength. You're a big part of that now. Just tell us a bit about rugby league in the armed forces and what your role is in the Navy and how that comes together in the combined services.
Yeah, so obviously all three services have a strong rugby league team, Army, Navy and RAF. I'm captain at Navy team, and then this year I've actually just been selected as to captain the Great Britain Armed Forces team.
Outstanding. Congratulations.
So thank you very much. So we're going out to Australia for World Cup. We're going June, July. So hopefully, you know, do a number on whoever comes at us like over there. So yeah, that's a great honour, especially playing under that Great Britain badge. It's what you grew up under as a kid, isn't it?
Certainly is.
Looking at stuff like that. I watched interview with Nigel Wood of a week, and I heard him mention about Lions tours maybe coming back.
Yep, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be quality. And obviously we've got it in forces, so
right.
It's one of them things. It's different to all else. You're not just playing for England, you're playing for Great Britain, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Class.
And we went there last week to the Lions lunch, and I would pay to go and listen to some of the stories that some of those old guys
they've got some tales, haven't they?
Mate, and they just want to share them at World. And I'd pay to go watch it and listen to it. And I was fortunate to go get my heritage number, which is at Pride of Place on top of my fireplace there. But what's really great at Rugby League at the minute is the chairman of Rugby League is a flight Air Commodore, I believe, is the title.
Yeah,
which
Air
is,
Commodore Andrews, yeah.
And that's a massive place to be. It's a big part of the British military. And I just think the old military ethos really fits with the culture and the background of rugby league working class people. And it's just great to see Armed Forces Days and them heritage rounds sort of coming together and playing a big part in the future rugby league as well.
Yeah, I think as you've mentioned there, the sort of the values that you are instilled in your forces are similar to what you get in rugby league, and like you said, working class folk, groups of lads all being together, you know what I mean? It's that culture that's shared between sport and forces, and it's good for me because I can just be myself, you know what I mean?
Brilliant, mate. I'd use you every week if it were up to me in rugby league to promote the game, particularly at Yorkshire side. I'm sure there's some talented people over in Lancashire, but do you get asked a lot? I mean, I'm just thinking Yorkshire in particular overshadows cities like Leeds, and much to our detriment sometimes. But you know, Gary Verity, who's Mr Yorkshire, CEO of Welcome to Yorkshire, you know, brought the Tour de France over here. I'm surprised people like that are whipping you up and using you to promote some of their stuff. Are you getting a lot of attention?
Yeah, I've had a few folk contact me, like, you know, asking for bits and pieces, but all like that. Yeah, it's like you said, promoting Yorkshire to the world. Like, I don't think there's no better place. Yep. So just showing it off. If there's all I can do to help that, then I'd like to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, if all like that comes my way, then I'll snap it up.
Mate, hairs are standing up back of my neck. I'm so chuffed and honoured to have met him. I honestly are. We watch people on YouTube sometimes, you forget that just normal people, local people, and he stood here right next to me.
I was saying to Simo before, it's weird having folk coming up to me asking for pictures and that.
But apparently they don't recognise you.
Only when I've got my cap on, if I take my cap off, it's like Clark Kent in it with glasses.
Superhero, superhero all day, and that is his disguise right there. Mate, great to meet you. Thank you very much.
Cheers, Jones.
Cheers, pal.
Nice one.
Whether it's power station, factory or stadium, covering installation or maintenance, SPEC, the specialist power contractor to industry.